Now, let's talk about the properties of life and what makes something living. To begin with, they must all have some sort of order. And what I mean by order is that they have cells, and those cells create a structure or an organism. So all living things are multicellular. They must be. The second thing is that they must all respond to stimulus. So they must all respond to a stimuli. And what this means is that it needs to be able to respond to a change in its surroundings in order to maintain homeostasis. So stimuli is a certain change in its environment, like I just explained. Next, they must all be able to reproduce. So reproduction can be in the form of sexual reproduction or asexual reproduction, and I'll go over both. So asexual reproduction is common in bacteria, and bacteria reproduce via binary fission. This means that the parent makes a copy of itself, and there's no differences between the bacteria and its offspring. So what happens is the bacteria just splits into two bacterias in order to create an offspring. And like I just said, it's a clone of its parent. Then we have sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction occurs when two gametes are united. So this happens when two gametes unite. Gametes are sexual cells within an organism. Humans, for example, have the sperm and the egg. The sperm is the male gamete, whereas the egg is the female gamete. This is important for reproduction, and the sperm has 23 chromosomes, along with the egg also having 23 chromosomes. So whenever they're united, there are 46 chromosomes, which is similar to a body cell or a somatic cell. So this is important for an offspring to be formed. The next major property of living things is the ability to adapt or evolve. This occurs when a certain adaptation or a certain feature of an organism fails or succeeds. In one case, for example, if there are multiple green grasshoppers that are killed in an environment because it is a desert area and brown grasshoppers tend to survive more because of their arid climate or the brown grass, then they're more likely to be brown grasshoppers than green because they adapt and they evolve. So the new adaptation in those grasshoppers is that they're brown. Next is that they should be able to grow and develop. And what I mean by this is that these organisms should be able to undergo mitosis, which means the reproduction of body cells, and also be able to grow over a period of time. Next is that all living organisms must have a metabolism. And metabolism is the ability to be able to take in energy and use it in a way. Next, we have homeostasis. Homeostasis is the internal balance that our body maintains, and this needs to be maintained in organisms to be able to survive. So, for example, if we get too hot or too cold, in the case that we get hot, we tend to sweat. So, that's to remove heat. And if we get cold, we tend to shiver. And shivering warms our body. So, homeostasis is maintained in that case. And our body temperature does not fall below 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, or it doesn't go above that, unless we have a fever, and that would also be an imbalance of homeostasis, which our body fights. The last component or property of life that must be in all organisms is genetic material. Genetic material is in the form of DNA. So these are the instructions or information for life, and it carries the genetic information that we have in our body. This is also stored in the nucleus of cells, which we will get into in the future. These properties of life decide if an organism is biotic or abiotic. Biotic means that they are living and they possess all these properties of life. If they do not possess one of these properties of life, they may be considered abiotic. Abiotic is non-living. An example of something that may be abiotic would be maybe the water or the sun, and biotic factors may include humans or other animals or plants, because they are also living and they also possess these properties of life. If one or more of these components are missing, then, as I said, it is considered abiotic. Although these components may be important for life,